Hey, how's it going? I wanted to do a little video on how to make a custom drawer front or door front for your IKEA cabinets. And this is mostly if you're doing something and you find that the sizes that IKEA sells aren't going to work and you have to make something. This is what I found myself, the situation I found myself in, and how I'm dealing with it. So this is our kitchen island. We're just starting to work on it. Sort of it's in the rough stages right now. Originally, the plan was to have three doors. So let me show you what it looked like originally. So originally we had these three doors, like that. Each one was 24 inches wide, and we kind of modified that plan a little bit. We decided to go with this Bosch speed oven, which is kind of cool. It's like a microwave. It's like an under-counter microwave, but it's also a conventional oven with like an electric oven. So it's both a microwave and an oven. So it's kind of cool. So we did that. And then I have a gap, as you can see down at the bottom. And unfortunately, it's 12 inches. And the IKEA drawers come in either 6, 10, or 15 inches. I'm not sure what the millimeter centimeter conversion is, but it's pretty standard size. And the reason they do that is that those dimensions allow them to fit correctly in a 30-inch tall cabinet. So 12 inches, you're just out of luck. You can put a drawer in there that's too small, or you can put one that's too big and cut it up, and it'll probably look pretty bad. So I had to make one. So here is what I made and what it'll look like here. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit, see if I can do that. All right, I'll bring this down so you can kind of see what we're doing there. So that's the IKEA drawer portion here. And I've already installed it. And then what I did on the front here is I built a shaker style door that will fit right on the front here, and when it clicks in, it'll look great. It's still in the rough shape here, so I'll show you before I glue it all together how I built it. So let me zoom in here. Sorry for the camera shake. I'll zoom out a little bit here. Sorry about that. Okay, so here it is. So here is my shaker style IKEA door. It's shaker. You could do this, I guess, with raised panels or whatever else you could come up with. One thing I really like about this type of IKEA cabinets we bought, we're gonna end up painting them, is that they're hardwood, and it's easy for me to recreate that. So I've used some, this is hard maple, and then this is a Baltic birch plywood. And this is actually not glued yet. It's just stuck together with some tape on the back here. We'll pull the tape off and we'll see kind of how it's built. But what I kind of like is, because this is hardwood on the cabinets, and because this is hardwood, you can create something. This would be a lot more difficult to do if you're trying to make it out of the melamine foil or some kind of brushed aluminum or anything else they make these things out of. But theoretically, you could make your own door fronts however you wanted. If you wanted to make them out of glass or polycarbonate or aluminum or wood, or you wanted to decorate them cool, you could do whatever you wanted to. Because the way they connect on the back are just these little slots, and then these little sections to attach to give it a better attaching point. So you can put these on yourself. The way I made this particular drawer front is it's made out of hardwood pieces that have a slot cut into them. And there's a router kit. Let me pull this over here. So I'll show you the tools I used. So there's a router kit that you can buy, and I'm sure there are lots of versions of this. that's made up of two pieces. It's got the piece that will cut what are called the tongues, where it's going to remove material and leave a little tongue piece. And then it's got a piece that will cut the groove. And that actually is what cut out this center section right here with this piece of router. So let me take this apart and you can kind of see the way it's built. And what's nice is you could scale this to any size. Whatever size you wanted to, you could do. So this tape's holding it together. Let's put the tape off and it'll come apart and you kind of see how it works. So there we go. So it's made out of 5 pieces of wood. Don't ask me which are the rails and which are the stiles. I don't honestly know. The more complicated piece are the crossing pieces here, because you have to cut this groove and then you have to cut a tongue. So the tongue, like I said, is cut with this router bit. And this is sold as a kit, so they work together. And then the groove is cut with this router bit, and that goes through here. And that groove is the correct size for this thickness of plywood, of Baltic birch. So basically there's a groove on all 4 sides. The Baltic birch fits in there, as well as that groove is what connects that tongue piece together. But what's cool about that is you could, for instance, get a really long piece, use the same, I believe these are the rails, and you can make a really giant door, or get smaller pieces and make a smaller door. Really, you know, it's once you can do this stuff, it's pretty much unlimited on how you can modify this to fit any size. It is much easier just to stay with the IKEA sizes, if at all possible. But sometimes you're going to put in an appliance, or you're going to have a door that's just not going to fit, and you're going to have to make some modifications. The last thing IKEA does on theirs is they cut this little bevel, and I use this little router bit to cut the bevel. Again, they have ball bearings on these router bits. That's what keeps the spacing correct. This one, for example, this is a big ball bearing right here in the middle. So the ball bearing is what allows it to cut this groove without going too far in, if that makes sense. Because the ball bearing is riding along the wood, which keeps the depth consistent as it's spinning around really, really fast. So that is a custom IKEA panel. The mounting hardware, you have to drill the holes. Obviously there's no holes already in it, but you're just really careful. You mark the position and check it 3 times and then drill the little holes in. And like I said, this is all made from scratch. I literally just took wood, milled it down. It was a much bigger piece of wood originally. This is a large panel. I did all this with my little Festool CMS router table and my TS track saw. Cut it all down with that. I have a track saw attachment for my CMS, and I'll do a video on that sometime, but it just makes it into a table saw because it's a lot easier to cut this long strip on a table saw. Yeah, so I'm gonna glue it together. One thing to note is that when this panel is put together, this is gonna have a little bit of play inside here for the center panel. Not much because it's plywood, but a little bit. And I'll use these little guys. They're called, it's funny, these are called space balls. And they're just a rubber ball that acts as a spacer to keep the panel pressed in tight at all times. So I'll probably cut these in half and put them inside these grooves, and that keeps the panel secure, but it allows it to have some movement so it doesn't crack and it doesn't push apart the rails and stiles. Because this panel is gonna have some movement, so you have to account for that. So I ended up cutting this just a little bit shorter width and lengthwise than the frame that it's gonna fit inside, so it has a little bit of flexibility to move. All right, so that's what we're doing. That's how to build a custom door Once it's painted, it'll look identical to the other ones. You won't be able to tell a difference. I honestly don't know the dimensions because all I did was just measure it based on an existing drawer. I didn't, I just made everything the same size. I just used it as a template and copied it. So yeah, it worked pretty well. Hopefully we're going to be adding an area for wine, how we're going to do some wine storage on the end of this. And the good news is the panel that was here is actually going to be used on the other side as a panel to finish off the other side of the island here. So it's going to get reused and recycled. Like I said, you can definitely bake this stuff. It's not impossible. You need some tools, but if at all possible, I would recommend just staying with as much IKEA stuff. Try to get it to fit if you can. It's a lot less work and a lot less time and effort and tools. But I wanted to show somebody how I did it, and maybe that'll help someone out. Good luck.